Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jenna Longmire, and I'm a licensed professional counselor, divine feminine mentor, and founder of the Tree of Life Priestess Temple. Also a singer-songwriter. And I want to introduce Sharla Mize, or let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, um, I'm Sharla Mize. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor in California, Tennessee, and Kentucky. I am a CEU provider for therapists. I provide trainings and bespoke trainings for agencies and therapists and consultation. We're here today because we've both been working with clients for years, but one of the things that I'd gotten really interested in was a mother wound because I realized that a lot of my clients were having trouble in their lives that can be directly related to the attachment piece, the attachment wound from early childhood. And one of the things that I started doing is that let's do a deep dive, let's do the research, read some books, right? And what was eye-opening about the books was that I haven't healed my mother wound completely, but also like everything that I have been seeing in myself and in my clients that really needs attention. Problems with emotions, anxiety, depression, problems with self-identity, not really having a clear idea of who you are or how to live in this world, how to move through this world, relationship issues. All of these could be traced back to that original attachment wound, which is also like the original heartbreak, if you think about it. The original what's the word? Unrequited love. I can't, Jenna, what's the word I'm trying to think of? But so I thought, well, first of all, I want to talk to other therapists about this and help them understand this, especially therapists who are up and coming. But I also realized there's one piece missing that I am not an expert on. I'm very interested in, I've been learning about, but I knew Jenna was, and that is the divine feminine, because all of the research I did that having that belief in something benevolent and loving and nurturing, like a celestial mother, is important for recovery from this attachment wound. And so I reached out to Jenna and said, let's collaborate on this and let's figure out how to train other therapists in this who can help their clients. And so that's why I brought Jenna in. That's why we're here.
That was a great intro to this topic. And we wanted to also share with you kind of what our personal story is just a little bit and how we came to want to really delve into this topic. And Sharla and I have different backgrounds with it and different life stories, but for me, I think it began in college. So right around the time I was starting college, my mother uh, recovered some memories, and it was after a surgery where she was under anesthesia, and that's common sometimes for people to recover memories that had been repressed. And she began a very difficult journey of therapy and treatment for issues related to ongoing childhood sexual abuse, physical abuse, and abandonment issues, things like that. And was raised by her grandmother. So there was that mother wound with her where, her own mother didn't protect her and actually, let her mother raise my mom. So that was a big wake up for me, and probably a big reason why I ended up becoming a psychotherapist after that, was because I watched her journey and became awakened in college to the patriarchal culture that we're living in, that really is not supporting women and other minority groups and marginalized groups because of the power dynamic in the patriarchal culture, where we even today still look to men, and men control the majority the power in our culture. And there is that power over dynamic, which I learned in my women's studies and studying feminist psychology, that women have a different way of relating, and men too, just with this feminine side that we all have, is more about being relational, power with, collaboration. And if we were to, I think, learn more about the divine feminine, which Sharla and I plan on doing more of these educational videos to teach people why the divine feminine is so important, and how it got left out of organized religion, which most of us grew up with, and unless you grew up in like an indigenous culture, so pre-organized religion, pre-patriarchy. So that's how it came about for me. College studies, and then after grad school, I found my first women's circle and a divine feminine mentor that I worked with for about 5 years in my mid to late 20s, early 30s. So that's how it came to me, and it's a passion of mine to continue to bring this into the cultural awareness, and I would love to bring it into more awareness with other therapists.
Yes, that's awesome. And Jen and I have different stories, different backgrounds. So I think is perfect for the collaboration because we represent different demographics of the female experience in the United States. And mine was, a single mother who raised me. I was born out of wedlock, and she was determined to keep me, which is great. So I had this narrative growing up that my mom was my hero, um, and in a lot of ways, she still was. But what I missed in that narrative that was really important was that she was stuck in the patriarchy. She was stuck in the idea that she needed a man. She needed that kind of identity to be valid, and she didn't have that. She was an alcoholic, and I'm sure that this self medicating had a lot to do with that system of not feeling like enough as a single parent. And she was blinded to a lot of things that happen in patriarchy, the sexualizing of young girls, the authority of men over women in any situation. And so, as a result of that, a lot of my childhood was not very safe, just to be frank. And a lot of the sexualizing that I experienced from males in all different kinds of settings was blamed on me. And so this is very common in our culture. One of the things that I turned to as a young child, because I'd been told, we're Christian, I would take any bus that came to our house. The churches would send people around and say, do you want to have a ride to church? And I would take the church bus to Sunday school. The candy was probably a big draw too. But I was very interested in this kind of community. I was interested in a higher power. I definitely wanted to be rescued. And the Father God image was amazing for a girl who didn't have a dad, right? Ultimately, it was a very mixed bag experience. I did find community eventually. I married someone who was in the church, and I'm very grateful for that relationship. But we eventually both left for reasons that have to do with the disenfranchisement of women. Like even my husband was bothered by that. Um, Women didn't have a voice in the church. Uh, there was no openness to another interpretation of scriptures. And then, in fact, I learned that the scriptures leave out some powerful female voices from women that Jesus himself was in relationship with and valued. And so ultimately, I realized that it was not a place I wanted to raise my own two children. And at some point, I connected with Jenna. I think during COVID, during the lockdown, she started advertising her circle online. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to explore that divine feminine that I'd learned a little bit about in feminist studies in school when I studied art history, but didn't know a lot about, and I wanted to know more. And in this circle, I found what I had been looking for. First of all, it's a circle, it's not a hierarchy. And women see women in that circle and support women, which was another piece of the patriarchy that really influenced my childhood. Was even though my mom and I were, two females, there was competition. There was competition. And that's a very unfortunate that women will see other women as competition instead of supporting one another in our successes and our growth and safety. And in this circle, I found that. And I was able to realize that that celestial mother was taken away from us at some point historically with patriarchy. And that is part of the reason why we have some of the mental health issues that we have in this country, is because we are not valued and the divine feminine's not valued. So I feel like all of this contributed to my, when I read these books about the mother wound, I was like, the light bulb went off. This is what we need for healing. We need to bring together all of these ideas, all of the interventions we've been using. I've been using DBT, neuroaffective relational model, internal family systems for years to help people. But I think that when we bring it all together with the divine feminine and with the idea that that attachment wound is the source of the pain, then we can heal. And we're not blaming moms. Okay. I'm a mom. I don't want to be blamed for everything that my children, struggle with. We're not blaming moms. We're saying the system doesn't work. And because of that, mothers are not supported and taken care of enough to be able to pass that on to their own children.
Yes, and I'll just piggyback on that. In recent years, I've really been delving into this whole idea of multi-generational trauma and epigenetics through constellations work, which that's a whole nother modality that I won't get into now, but it addresses that, and it addresses what's passed down through the ancestral lineage. And that helped me a lot because I had a very different experience than Sharla. I had kind of like this idyllic childhood with both parents in traditional roles. Mom stayed home with us until I was in middle school, but the wounding took a long time for me to really get at because it's so hidden in our culture. But my mom was just doing what you did back then, in the 60s and 70s, which was take care of the family, take care of your husband, make sure everything's done for him so that he can provide. And it worked for them. But I struggled in relationships, and I finally figured out that there was deep codependency with me and a big chunk of the population where we just are not taught to take care of ourselves or to even like know what our needs are to be able to ask. So that caused me a lot of problems later in life and in relationships, and began my recovery work, looking at those attachment wounds, which create that dynamic of, oh, let me do everything for you first, let me put you first. And there's like this energetic entanglement that happens that is not empowering. It's not. And I think Sharla and I live in the southeast part of the country, and I'm a Southerner, and we kind of get that even more, just this be sweet, be nice all the time, and don't rock the boat. So yeah, I'm super excited to pull this all together with you, Sharla. And would you tell everyone what we've got planned coming up?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. Like, I knew that when we started talking, it was going to be something big. And what we've decided to do is kind of roll out this webinar / coursework for therapists first and training other therapists, providing CEUs at the same time, which is very convenient, and how to work with clients to heal the attachment wounds, some very specific interventions that help to rewire neurobiologically, rewire the nervous system. It's very exciting. And then bringing in that celestial mother piece to help clients have a spiritual resource for their healing. We're going to start with a presentation at the TLPCA, the Tennessee Licensed Professional Clinical Counselors Association, June 14th and 15th at Trevecca Nazarene University in Nashville. And then after that, we're going to be providing day-long trainings, maybe potentially retreats in the future, to help us really get steeped and knowledgeable in this work so that we can provide healing for our clients, or the potential for healing for clients, and have ongoing support for one another in this work. Ultimately, I would also like to extend it to my own clients, but we're going to start now with therapists. So come to that training if you're interested. If you want to reach out to us directly, the information's provided for you on the post, I'm sure. And we can get started on doing this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yes, please feel free to reach out to either of us directly, get on our mailing lists so you can stay up to date. And I really look forward to sharing more with you and working with Sharla on this.
Me too.
Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Take care.